Hello there again. Welcome to Messy Church at home in a bag from St Andrew's Roundhay United Reformed Church on Saturday the 10th of July. Now our theme for this month is Noah and the flood, and we're going to explore the story of what happened to Noah and his family when the world went really bad and it made God really sad. Now, I'm going to introduce you to the story by showing you the ark that my children had when they were little. Maybe you've got something a bit like this at home. This is a wooden ark that they had. And it's got space inside for storing all the animals, and the roof comes off. And so there's even some dolphins on the front because they stayed in the sea, and they had lots of pairs of animals that came with it. We've got crocodiles and some giraffes and some elephants and rhinos and whales. There we go. It's whales. And then there's pandas. There's two of everything. There's zebras. Lots of things there. And then there's some camels. All sorts of animals. Yep. And then there's lions as well. But then, of course, there is Mr. and Mrs. Noah. And we'll put them on the boat as well. Mrs. Noah there. And Mr. Noah. They can all, of course, go safely inside the ark, which they'll need to do later, as you'll be able to tell in the story. Now, before I tell you the actual story, I want to recommend a really good book to your family. This is called Tales from the Ark, and it tells the story of different animals from the ark, and from the different, tells the story from different points of view. So we've got the lion's tail, the sheep's tail, the termite's tail, the skunk's tail, the donkey's tail, the pig's tail, the spider's tail, the monkey's tail, the elephant's tail, the dove's tail, the dormouse's tail. So there's lots of different animals tell their stories in there, and it's really worth getting the book. I'm going to read you just the introduction to it because it's really says something about how good it is. Mr. Noah couldn't sleep. He lay in bed listening to the wind howling round the outside and the snuffles and grunts of the animals inside. And he talked to God. "Listen, God," he said. "It's not too late. You need a lion tamer for this job, or a big game hunter, or at least a zookeeper. I'm very grateful, of course, that you want to save me and my family, but honestly, I'm not cut out for the job. And I'll tell you something, God," Mr. Noah went on. "I'm scared of spiders, and we've got 2 on board." Now, of course, spiders aren't the only problem, because in this book, if you read it, the lion wants to be in charge, the sheep go missing, and the animals threaten a revolt because of the smell of the skunks. And worst of all, the ark begins to leak, and you don't want that. So get that book, I recommend it. Tales from the Ark by Avril Rowlands. Now maybe you've had the chance to go on a big boat at some point in your life. Well, the ark that we hear about in the Bible is a story about saving the world from when the world went wrong and God thought the world isn't going too well. Maybe we need to change things. And so this story is about a huge boat. Might be like a huge raft, but you just have to imagine a really, really big boat that's got several layers to it where all the animals can live. So maybe think of yourself on a boat, or remember a boat that you've been on as we tell the story. I'm using the Lion Storyteller Bible today. God was sad, very sad. Everywhere he looked, he saw people making bad choices, hating each other, hurting each other, making a mess of his beautiful world. I need to start all over again, God decided. I need to make my world clean. And that's when he talked to Noah. Noah was not like the rest. He was a good man, and God knew it. So God told him to build a boat, a big boat, a boat big enough to hold Noah and his wife and his 3 sons, and their wives, and a pair of every animal in the world, and food enough to feed them all for a very long time. Noah's family was surprised when he told them what he was going to do. Noah's neighbours thought it was really strange of him to build a boat so far from the sea. And it wasn't easy chasing and catching and cleaning up after all those animals. But Noah was a good man, and he did what God told him, even when it was hard. At last, when they were all tucked safely away in the boat, God shut the door, and then it started to rain. It rained for 40 days, it rained for 40 nights. It rained harder than Noah had ever seen it rain before. It rained so hard that the streams and the rivers and even the seas burst their banks and began to flood. Soon every sandy beach, every rocky path, every patch of muddy earth had disappeared beneath the water, and the boat began to float. It floated above the houses, it floated above the trees, it floated above the hills, and then above the mountains too. It floated for days and weeks and months, and then it stopped and stuck at the top of a tall mountain. Noah opened the window to look out. The water was going down, but the world was far from dry. So he sent out a dove. And when the dove did not come back, Noah knew he had found a dry place to build its nest. "Come out," God called, finally. "Come out of the boat, the world is dry. The world is clean, and now you and your family and all the animals must have children and fill it with life again." "Hooray!" Noah celebrated with all his family, and he thanked God for saving him. God was so happy, he painted the world's first rainbow in the sky to celebrate his fresh, clean world, and to promise that he would never send a flood like that again. So, we'll come back to that story a little later on, but now we're going to do the crafts to help us remember the different parts of that story. And Rachel is going to help us with the crafts again. So let's go inside and see what Rachel's got ready. Come on.
Hi everybody, welcome to the craft section of Messy Church. Before we start, we just want to do a big shout out to all of you who have sent in photographs of the crafts that you've made from Messy Church, particularly to Marcus and Matthew, who always send in their brilliant photographs. And we hear that you liked Tim's shark hat last time, so especially for you, he's got another one. Fits in with the theme. There we go. He's a lion this time, so is that your crafting hat?
My crafting hat for this week.
Okay. Right, let's get started. We're going to start off by making an ark, but not out of wood and everything. We're just going to make a paper origami boat that can represent the ark. So you need your piece of A4 paper that should be in your pack. Tim, I'm going to test you to see how good you are at making this. So you have got the instructions, but we'll just have a quick go at making it, see how far we get. So first of all, you need to fold your paper long ways in half. Open it up and then fold it the other way in half. Right, so you've got the fold along the top, then fold the corners in to the middle like this. Well done, Tim. And then you're going to fold the bits that flap down at the end. You're going to fold one half up onto that side, turn it over, then the other half up onto that side. This almost looks like a hat now. I used to make these when I was little. Did you?
Yep.
Did you learn to make these boats?
I don't think I did actually.
Oh.
I don't think I ever made one that didn't sink.
Oh.
Okay, carry on.
Right, so now you're going to open it out like this. So it's into a square with the point facing up, and you sort of tuck your flaps like that, so they're all folded in. You got that?
Hang on, tucking the flaps. Yep.
Right, so then get that bottom corner and fold it up to the top.
Okay.
Then turn it over and do the same on that
Do
side.
the same on that
Fold
side.
it up.
Fold it up.
Okay, now here's the tricky-ish bit.
It's a sandwich.
So you put your finger in the middle and then flap it across like that. That's it. I don't know quite how to explain that in words, but you've got the instructions. Then you get these two bits here and pull them out, and then you should make a boat.
That's so clever.
Like that, and it should float if you put it on some water or in your bath, whatever. It should float. But we thought we could. Tim, you're good at drawing. Draw some little windows, and I've got a.
Ooh, that looks like a yellow submarine.
I've got Mr. and Mrs. Noah here with their life jackets on. Let's put them in the arc. There we go. Have you put some windows on, Tim?
There's somebody looking out one of the windows.
Okay, just let's show that and give an idea of what we could do. So you could colour it in, you could draw some animals on, you could draw Mr. and Mrs. Noah in the boat. So
you take more time over that.
So there we go. Right, the next thing you should have in your pack is some templates to make an animal mask. I think you've maybe got a couple of choices of animals. We've got a rabbit, and we've got a cat, or it could be a tiger maybe. Here's one that's finished to give you an idea of what it's going to look like. It's got some string to, oh, should I try it on?
Ooh, where's Rachel gone? Oh, that's a tiger for a minute.
Oh, so what I would suggest is that you stick this template onto a piece of card, maybe if you wanted to make it a bit stronger, and then cut it out. So let's imagine that we've stuck that onto a piece of card. We're going to cut it out around the edge. I won't bother doing it because you can see what it looks like when it's cut out, and then you can paint it, you can colour it in, you could use materials.
Glitter.
Make the most, you know, imaginative rabbit or cat that you can think of, using whatever you like. And then if you've got a hole punch or just a pencil, you can make a hole in the sides there, and then use your string that you've got, cut it in half, and then you've got one at each side so you can tie it at the back of your head.
Cool.
So those are good, aren't they?
Mask. Okay, next.
And then next we're going to make a dragonfly using clothes peg. Should I try that on? And some pipe cleaners. You're probably thinking, how is that going to turn into a dragonfly? Well, here is one. I think these are so cool.
These are my favourite ones.
And they're really colourful. So what we're going to do to start with is decorate your peg. So do you want, if I give you some nice bright colours, Tim, you could just make it nice and stripy.
Okay.
And then you should have some googly eyes in your pack. So we'll use the small eyes for this because it's quite a small dragonfly. So when you've done that, Tim, the eyes go on the bit where it opens at the end. So you can stick those on, and I'll show everyone how to make the wings. So you're going to get your pipe cleaner, hold it in the middle, and then bend this end into the middle, and this end into the middle. So it's a bit like a bow, but just with tiny little bits that you're then going to just use to secure it. So you've got one like that, and then let's do the same with the red one. So hold it in the middle, bend, shoots me there, flicking eyes about.
Go and get it off.
It's not peely, you have to use glue.
Oh, okay. Don't try and peel the backs.
Don't try and peel the backs of the eyes because there aren't any backs to peel off. Just use a bit of glue, Tim. Sorry, I should have explained that. Right, so we've nearly got our wings ready. So we've got two nice coloured wings. We're going to put them the opposite back to back like that. So they look like dragonfly wings. And then, how are you doing, Tim? Ah, right, very good. shall we see if we can, we'll do them one at a time. We'll push, if you can see, open up your peg, press one wing in, then the other wing.
It's a dragonfly with
Oh
its mouth
no,
wide
I've
open.
made your eyes come off. Hang on.
I spent so long doing that.
There we go.
Yeah, not
So, yeah,
wiggly
I
wobbly.
like those. You could make lots and hang them up, couldn't you, in the trees
Do
or
them
anything?
with all your mum and dad's clothes pegs, so that when they hang out their washing next time, they're
There's
all
no
dragonflies.
pegs. Oh, I was going to say, I wonder where the
I thought
pegs
it was
have
just
gone.
going to be decorative on the
That's
washing
true,
line.
that's a good idea. Right, what's next? Oh, I like this one best. This is a snake made from a paper plate, so very, very easy to do. But look at this. Are you ready? Ooh, I think that's so cool. Right, so this is really easy to make. You just need your paper plate. Now, if you wanted to make it a certain colour, like this one's red, it might be a good idea to paint the plate first and let it dry
Before you cut it.
before we do any cutting. But I'm going to do it like this. So you're going to get a pen or a pencil or something and start near the middle. This middle bit will be the head, and then we're just going to draw a spiral going out round to the edge, whoop, onto the bumpy bit.
There we go.
There we go. So what I thought I might do to make it a bit different from this one, give you another idea, is before you start cutting, get your colours out and your crayons, and you could have a stripy snake, so you could go along your snake's body and sort of colour in each section in different colours. So it probably might be easy to do that before you cut it. Anyway,
Some snakes have really pretty patterns on
they
them
do.
anyway,
You
so
could
that'd be
do
really
all
good.
sorts of things. You could use glitter. You could use stickers.
Always use glitter.
So then you need to start cutting it, and you're going to follow your line. Or if you need some help with your scissors, I'm sure your grown-up will be able to cut this bit out for you. Go round and round and round and round and round and round. Oh, I'm getting dizzy. Round and round and round. Are we there yet? Are we nearly there? Nearly there, making the head.
Yay.
So you've got into the middle.
Okay.
There we go, look at that. That's really clever. So when you get to the middle, you should have a little bit of a red card as well. I'm going to cut a little triangle into the middle, like that. So that can be the tongue of the snake. And I'm going to, can you pop a bit of glue just on the end of that for me? There we go. I might just use a bit of sellotape just in case.
Just for speed.
So there we go, look, we've got the snake's tongue, and then we got some googly eyes. Tim, use glue this time.
I'm using glue this time. They are not sticky.
Okay. So there, there's my snake's face. And then, if you want, you can make a little hole. Just use my pen to push a little hole through, and then with a bit of string, here it is, you can thread that through. Just poke it through with the pen, and then you can do what we did with the other one, and you can hold it up like this, and you can hang it somewhere, or you know, make your brothers and sisters jump with a snake suddenly emerging from behind the sofa or something. So I like that.
Ooh,
Yeah,
what's going on?
fascinating. This is good. It's like an invisible one. This, if you
Yeah.
use like some
Thread.
sewing thread, some cotton, it's
Like
almost
doing
like
its own.
you can't see it, and that'd be quite good.
People
It's a
think it's
trick,
real
wouldn't it?
then.
Okay,
Okay.
so are we going to do the dove next?
Yes, do the dove
So
next.
the dove is what Noah sent out
Near the end of the
to
story.
see if the flood was drying up, didn't he?
Mhm.
So you should have a sheet like this with a dove to cut out. So what I've done is I've cut the dove bit off, and what we're going to do is stick it onto a bit of card again, just to make it a bit more solid. So Tim, could you stick that on there with some glue and then cut it out?
You do the other bit.
And I will show you how to make the wings.
The glue.
So you should have another piece that's half an A4 piece, and we are basically, let's move this out of the way so you can see, we're going to fold it up, maybe just a couple of centimetres, a bit less than that, and fold it back on itself again, and keep folding it and folding it like a concertina, backwards and forwards, till you get to the end. There we go, so you should have something that looks like this. Okay, how are you doing there, Tim? Excellent. So you need to be very careful when you cut through the
Grown-up to do this,
the middle of this, yeah. Definitely get a grown-up, because that's quite hard. Right.
Some plasticine rubbing on really button.
What we're going to do with this, so you have it that way round, and then fold it up to the middle, like that. So make sure you've done this bit before you do the next bit. So there you can see they do look like a pair of wings, don't they? Now, oh, you've done a smiley face, that's nice. Right, should we do an eye on the other side? Let's do an eye on the other side. Where's the black? Or a purple eye, that's fine. A very colourful dove. So what we're going to do now is you're going to get your wings. Hopefully you might have to adjust the length of the slit you've made, but you push that in like that. Then your dove has got some wings, and if you join them together at the top with just a tiny bit of sellotape, and then you can fan them out a bit. So then you've got your dove's wings, but you can put a little hole. Hang on a minute, Tim, we need a hole before we can put the thread in. That might not work. You might just have to use the pen and plasticine technique. There we go. Will that go through? Do you want the pen to push it through? Use and that can hang up to add to all your other hanging up things. There we go. I think that's really cool.
Excellent.
A lovely dove. And then to finish with the rainbow, the sign of God's promise. It's gorgeous, that, isn't it?
That's great. And
so,
how do you make that?
This is very easy again. Who'd have known all these things you could make with paper plates? Last time we made
Paper
fish,
plates,
didn't we? And
not plastic
jellyfish.
plates. They're recyclable.
Yeah, you can recycle them when you don't want to keep them anymore. So, cut your paper plate in half. It's already rainbow shaped, but we're just going to cut out a little rainbow shape in the middle. There you go. So now, I don't think I need to have a go at doing this because it's quite obvious what you need to do. The colours of the rainbow, we've got red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. If you haven't got all those colours, you can just improvise and use whatever colours you've got to make it look like a rainbow. And then there's some cotton wool that you can pull apart a little bit, make it all fluffy, and stick that on the bottom of your rainbow to look like the clouds.
Yep, there we go. Fluffy clouds.
I love this. I might hang this
Yeah,
up.
that's cool. You can tell you what you could do, because we've kind of all forgotten it a bit. Do you remember at the beginning of the first lockdown we put out lots of things in our windows and stuff to say thank you to the NHS for looking after us? Well, we still need to say thank you to the NHS, so maybe you could stick this in your window as well and say thank you NHS, thank you for God's promise as well.
Right, so Tim, I think it's going to be back over to you in the garden
Okay,
to finish up.
I'll go back outside.
See you later,
Bye.
everyone.
Guys. Oh, sorry. Well, we're back outside, and I hope you enjoyed doing the crafts this week. and I'm sure you can make lots more animals over the summer holidays before we come back to meet as Messy Church back at St Andrews, hopefully back in September. Second Saturday of the month, we'll be back at church in the hall, doing Messy Church together, live in person. So don't forget, put that in your diary, 3:30 on the second Saturday of the month. We're starting in September. And don't forget to tell your friends to come along as well. Bring their whole families. Now we're going to close for today with a prayer, because it's the last one we're doing before the summer break. We're not doing one again in August. But I didn't show you earlier, but this, to go with our ark, we have a wooden rainbow at home, and it's got each of the colours there in the rainbow. There we go. See, they're all separate. I'm just going to hold on to this as we say our prayer for today, because maybe as we go over the summer, we can think of all those things we need to change in our lives before we come back together again in September. So let us pray. God, help us when we get things wrong, to know you want us to start afresh and begin again. When we are mean to our brothers and sisters, or rude to our parents, or mean to our friends, help us to see our mistakes, to say sorry, and to start again. May we remember every time we travel with others this summertime, or whenever we see a rainbow, that you are there to help us be better people. Amen. Now don't forget to share your pictures of all your crafts or your travels on your holidays over the summer, whether it be if you're travelling in an ark or a car, by sending them to media@standrews.cc so that we can include them with all our Facebook photos. Thanks for joining us. Take care. Have a great summer. God bless. Bye.